Most people don't realize how much of their life depends on electricity. Everything just feels normal. Lights turn on, food stays cold, your phone is always charged. You don't really think about it until, well, it stops. Because the moment the power goes out, it's not just one thing that disappears, it's everything connected to it. And honestly, it happens faster than people expect, so instead of waiting to figure it out in the moment, let's go straight into 10 things that stop working when power goes out, and why they matter more than people realize. Start with your fridge. This is usually the first thing people worry about. It doesn't shut down dramatically, there's no loud signal, but the countdown starts immediately. Cold air begins to escape, temperature rises slowly, and within a few hours, food starts to become unsafe. That's when you realize how much you rely on it, not just for storage, but for keeping food usable. The freezer follows the same path. It holds longer, but not forever. A full freezer might last a day or two. An empty one, much less. And once things start thawing, you're dealing with spoilage, not storage. That's when people realize how quickly food becomes a problem. The microwave stops instantly. No delay, no backup. One moment it works. The next, nothing. That removes one of the most common ways people prepare food. Quick meals disappear, convenience disappears, and anything that depends on it becomes useless. Cooking becomes a bigger issue than people expect. Even homes with gas stoves aren't always safe. Many modern systems need electricity for ignition. No power means no spark means no flame. And suddenly, food you thought you could cook becomes unavailable. That's when planning matters. Lights are simple, but critical. During the day, it's manageable. At night, everything changes. Rooms feel different. Movement slows down. Simple tasks become harder. Even familiar spaces feel unfamiliar. That's when people realize how much they depend on something so basic. Your phone doesn't stop immediately, but it becomes a problem quickly. Battery starts dropping, and without power, there's no way to recharge. Once it dies, you lose more than communication. You lose access to information, maps, updates, contacts, everything disappears with it. Wi-Fi is gone instantly. No internet, no browsing, no streaming, no quick answers. People underestimate how much they rely on being connected, until they aren't. That's when the silence feels noticeable. Water systems can be affected too. This depends on where you live. But, many systems rely on electric pumps. No power can mean reduced pressure, or even no water at all. That changes everything. Drinking, cleaning, basic hygiene. Yeah, all become more complicated. Heating and cooling systems stop working. In colder conditions, this becomes serious quickly. Temperature inside your home begins to drop. In warmer conditions, it becomes uncomfortable fast. Airflow stops. Fans stop. And suddenly your environment is something you have to deal with, not something you control. Card payments often stop working. This catches people off guard. Many payment systems rely on electricity. No power means machines don't process transactions, which means no purchases, even if stores are open. That's when simple things become difficult. Now step back for a moment. Because none of these things are unusual. They're part of everyday life. That's why they're easy to ignore. You don't notice them when they work. You only notice them when they stop. And when they stop, it all happens at once, not gradually, not one at a time. Everything connected to power goes down together. That's what creates the real impact, not the loss of one thing, but the loss of everything at the same time. Now imagine a normal evening. You're at home. Everything is working. Then suddenly, it isn't. No lights, no cooking, no fridge, no internet, no easy communication. Everything slows down immediately. That's when people start thinking differently. They stop focusing on convenience and start focusing on function. What still works? What can I use? What do I actually need? Most people don't think this way in advance, because they don't need to. Everything works, so there's no reason to question it. But once power is gone, that assumption disappears. Now think about how many of your daily habits depend on electricity. Making food, storing food, staying connected, even simple things like lighting a room, take those away, and your routine changes instantly. This isn't about expecting something to go wrong, it's about understanding how things work, because once you understand that, you start seeing things differently. You notice dependencies, you notice weak points, you notice what would matter most if something stopped working. And that's where the real value is, not in reacting, but in recognizing. Most people don't realize how connected everything is, until one thing stops, and everything else follows. That's why this matters. Not because it's dramatic, but because it's real. You don't need to change everything, you just need to understand it. Because once you do, you start making better decisions, without overthinking, without panic. You start noticing what you rely on, and what you'd need to replace or work around. That's the difference, because when power goes out, you don't need everything, you need a few things that still work. And once you understand that, you're not caught off guard.